Good afternoon, and welcome to the swearing-in ceremony in honor of the General Counsel of the Army, the Honorable Charles Young III. Please stand for the arrival of the official party. The hosts for today's ceremony are the Secretary of War, the Honorable Pete Hegseth, and the Secretary of the Army, the Honorable Dan Driscoll. Please remain standing for the singing of the national anthem, led by Staff Sergeant Imani Grosvenor, followed by the invocation delivered by Chaplain Charles Causey.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red clear the
I invite you to join me as I pray. Let us pray. Almighty God, we pause in this moment to acknowledge you and thank you for your providential care over our Army and the nation we serve. We ask your wisdom and steady guidance upon Mr. Charles Young III, sworn in today as the 24th General Counsel of the Army. We thank you for his many accomplishments in service to his country. Grant him clarity of judgment, humility of heart, and strength equal to the responsibility and trust placed upon him. Set his face like flint to the challenges ahead, and may his decisions find the true north of a moral compass illumined by you, so that he might have the sleep of the just. We ask a special blessing upon his wife, Lori, and their children, Madison, Darby, Derek, grandson Kenny, and Captain Young and Holly. May they each know joy in their callings and purpose in their work, and may their lives be filled with your perfect peace. Bless all who serve alongside Mr. Young, and all whose lives and missions will be shaped by the decisions made by the Office of the General Counsel. May we all aspire to manifest the virtuous warrior whose mind is set on victory, but whose heart prays for peace. Please protect our freedom and preserve our way of life. In your most holy name I pray. Amen.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, Secretary Hegseth.
Well, welcome. How we doing? Well, I feel like this, I know what this is. This is a celebration of Charlie Young. That's what it is. Because if you've had a chance to know him, get to know him, work with him, cross paths with him, so many of you have worked so much more extensively with him than you love him and appreciate who he is as a man of faith, as a family man, as a patriot, as a colleague, as someone who works his tail off on behalf of whoever he's working with and for, and on behalf of the nation. And I'll tell you, I showed up on, I guess it was day 4 of the administration, and Border Bob had held the fort down for a couple of days getting things done, and so had Charlie. And I knew, I'd known Earl Matthews. I knew he was coming in to be the General Counsel, and we were excited about that. We also knew the dysfunction of of the Senate, and that might take a while. And so I thought, man, what am I going to have on my hands when it comes to a general counsel, considering the speed at which we're going to want to operate in this office to drive change across the department. And I, as someone who, I don't know if you saw my confirmation hearing, made a few disparaging remarks about the legal profession inside. I'll leave it to your Google search later on that. I was concerned. What am I walking into? And instead, I walked into Charlie Young, who was from day one willing to work day and night to pursue the priorities of this new administration through the civilian leadership and uniform class to make sure we were driving the kind of change and deliverables that the president expected. And, you know, there were a few moments where we had to get something done so quickly that it was like, clear the room, just Charlie, you know? And we'd talk through it and work through it and the dynamics, and I could count on, hey, this is where we want to go. I don't know how to get there. I know we can, and we'll get there constitutionally and legally and ethically. I need you to help me get to yes. And that's all you're ever looking for with legal counsel. It's not legal counsel that pretends like they're in charge, telling you that you can or cannot, but legal counsel that says, hey, here's the path to get to yes, ensuring we're protecting all the things we need to protect and doing it by the book. And that's the way the White House operates and Earl operates and everybody across the spectrum operates. And Charlie, we didn't know what we would walk into, and you delivered in spades on that. And so when you asked me this morning, hey, or a couple of weeks ago, hey, will you do this ceremony? It was the easiest yes I've had in this position, because there are people that get a lot of spotlight and they got lots of stars and people know their name, and then there are the stars behind the scenes who make it happen on a daily basis. And Charlie, since day one, for us, on behalf of us, you have been one of those. And we are very grateful to you for that chapter, which it may have been only a year, but it probably felt a lot longer than that. No doubt. I mean, there was one moment when you're like, hey, I finally have a weekend. And I called him because I needed something, and he was in the middle of a lake in a boat fishing by himself, finally in solitude. He's like, okay, sir, if you need it, we'll get it done. And I think he rowed himself in, and and we got it done. True story, right? True story. But beyond his professional prowess and his willingness to work, he's just a good human being. And when you get to work with good human beings who love the country and they love their family and they love God and they want to serve on all of those fronts, it makes going to work real easy. So I see a lot of heads nodding in this audience, Charlie, and that's because of who you are and your family, an incredible family that's here to support you today too. We are sad to lose you to the Army, but Dan, you couldn't have a better general counsel, and I really mean that. But I also know that we're still got our tentacles in him a little bit. He's going to be a special advisor to myself and the deputy also on things that kind of nexus between the Joint Force and the Army also. So you've got him, but we still need him every once in a while, teaming up with Earl to drive all the things that we're doing. So congratulations. It's an honor to be here, and I look forward to you being sworn in and the future leadership in this department. Charlie Young, thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Secretary Driscoll.
My mic fell out of my pocket, so quick, can you guys hear me? Awesome. I think I ate too much over the holidays, so it is an absolute, to follow up on Secretary of War's remarks, honor to be here. I've got to do a couple of these now, and I don't think I've ever been in a room so crowded for somebody getting to accept this honor and getting to speak on your behalf. Is sincerely, it's a cool moment for me because I get to see what a life well lived in the Army looks like. You have contributed, looking back at your history, to our United States Army for so long as a helicopter pilot. Your family's in, you're multi-generation. Like, it is families like yours who have made the United States Army so spectacular for 250 years. We as an Army got to celebrate our 250th anniversary last year, which makes us 1 year older than the country itself. And what's cool to reflect on with that is soldiers actually built our nation. They've been there in all of our hardest times. They're the ones when there are forest fires and floods and wars that everybody looks to. And if you look at who joins the Army, oftentimes it's people from families like yours who have gotten the taste for it, who have service in their blood. And so to your entire family, I'm so grateful for you lending us your dad. To Secretary of War, you do have the best general counsel, and no offense to anybody else in the room, in the entire federal government. I have gotten, as somebody who went to law school and knows a lot of lawyers, though I'm not one, to see lawyers, and you've gotten to see good ones and bad ones. And you, sir, are absolutely, Charlie, the best I've ever come across. Your ability to take the intent and the purpose and just get to yes in a legal, moral, and ethical way is unlike anybody I've ever been able to be around. And it matters so much right now. If you look at what's happening around the world, we need our Army to change. Under Secretary Hegseth's guidance and leadership in the last year, very sincerely, I think we've been able to make movements that just haven't been able to happen in the last 30 and 40 years. And a lot of that starts from President Trump's underwriting of us taking risk, Secretary Hegseth's leadership to get us going, but then very crucially, people like you, Charlie, figuring out how do we actually chart to make these changes. And so we're so incredibly grateful to get you as much of full-time as we can have you, and I look forward to swearing you in. So if you and your family wouldn't mind joining on stage, let's do it. Oh, sure. Do you have, I got that to give Charlie. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Young is accompanied by his wife, Lori Young, their son, Captain Charles Young IV, and his wife, Mrs. Holly Young, as well as their daughter, Dr. Darby Shoss, and her husband, Derek Shoss, and their son, Kenny.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. Raise your right hand. I state your full name.
I, Charles Lee Young III,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mrs. Lori Young will now pin Mr. Young with the General Counsel of the Army pin. This pin is a replica of the positional colors of the Office of the Assistant Secretaries of the Army and the General Counsel. Thank you to the Young family. You may return to your seats. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to present the 24th General Counsel of the Army, the Honorable Charles Young.
Wow. Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. I was told I need to have you out here at 2:30. It's 2:26, so I'll be brief. But anybody who knows me and you put me in front of a microphone as a lawyer, and you don't pay me by the hour, then you get what you get, sir. But no, Mr. Secretary of War, Mr. Secretary of the Army, thank you very much for your gracious willingness to co-host this today. It means a lot. Your presence here underscores to everyone in the room the importance of legal counsel in the department and just what a value you place on it. So thank you very much, not only for that, but thanks for President Trump, to each of you for your support for my nomination and your confidence in my ability to serve with you in the Army and in the Department of War to assist us accomplishing our important missions. Mr. Undersecretary, Chairman, good to see you. Chief of the Guard Bureau, friends, families, distinguished visitors. There's a room full of people from all over, White House Counsel, dear friends, guests, and everyone in attendance. I would like to say welcome and thank you for showing support to our office by taking time from your very busy schedules. Whether you walked down from the hallway or whether you came here from great distances, it's a pretty difficult time of year to commute right now, if you haven't noticed, and it's about to get worse. Of course, you know, on top of Senate confirmation hearings, they add like a historic ice storm and a cyclone bomb on both ends, plus a government shutdown, just to make this an even more challenging day. So I do appreciate your patience in being here. I would like to say thank you, first of all, to the Department of War and Department of Army protocol teams, to the people from our office, particularly Miss Julie Scrivener, who you probably received 72 emails from, right? Now, just think about how complex it is to get this many people in a room. Required that much communication. Just imagine what it's like to execute Operation Midnight Hammer and to do the Maduro raid. Right? The complexity of our operations, the sophistication, it's just immense. So I would just like to say thank you to everyone, to include the chaplain, the amazing vocalist who did the national anthem, to Lee Card, who was, when I took over as the general counsel of NGB in June of 2020, there was 100% telework, 100,000 guardsmen mobilized, 40,000 guardsmen mobilized to be in the streets. There was nobody in the Pentagon except for Lee Card and I, except for maybe some of the people sitting in the front row in this room. And Lee says, don't worry, sir. I got your back. I'll show you what to do. I got you. And so just like a good NCO, he kept me sane, and he kept me on time and on target. So the one person that I thought would make a great orator here today was Lee Card. So thank you. The same thank you goes to the White House team that put their faith and confidence in me for this nomination, and then also to the Department of Army and Department of War Alleged Affairs teams that helped marshal a very unsophisticated guy like me through what I would consider to be somewhat a high degree of congressional scrutiny. And I'll just put it that way. No, sir, not quite as much as you guys went through, but I have my own degree of fun. Especially to Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Nealon, who was unfortunately got the task to be my Sherpa. Your time and effort to help pull this ceremony together and to literally pull me across the line are going to be long remembered and are very well received. To those watching online, including our daughter Madison, who couldn't be here today due to conflicting obligations, I know you would be here if you could, but we love you. To my mom and dad who can't be here, who to me not only are the greatest parents in the world, but also the greatest people in the world. Obviously, none of this would have been possible without them. I am forever indebted to it and to them. And I aspire to be one half of the parent and the person that they were. Above all, I would like to express my gratitude to God for the many blessings that He's bestowed not only on this country, but on this department and on our family. You know, as I look out across the audience today, I do see a sea of faces, many of whom I've known for decades. And to me, each one of you reflects the light of God's love. And, you know, I'll have to admit, looking out, there's some of you that reflected a little more dimly or brightly than others. You could take that up with the chaplain. But seriously, I see some of you scorning out there. Yeah, you know it is. But really, in all honesty, it is a blessing. Every day. I wake up in the morning, I get up early, I think my house is paid for, my cars are paid for, my kids are grown. What the heck am I doing getting up at 5 in the morning to come in? And I think then what a blessing it is to be able to come in and work in a department like this, right, with the people like you. So I do see that, and I want to be honest about that. That's very sincere. I think it's a blessing to be born in America, which is the most prosperous and powerful nation in the world, and to be here today in what is the most powerful city in the world. And I would argue you're sitting in the most powerful building in the world right now. And with that comes very significant obligations for us. Right? There's a reason why people from all over the world are drawn to our shores in greater numbers than to any other country. And that's because it's our God-given freedoms, our prosperity, our security, our domestic tranquility that shines as a beacon for the rest of the world. And the obligation to support and defend the Constitution is a bedrock for all of that. Our hard-fought freedoms rest on that. The very way of life rests on that. And it rests on the shoulders of the men and women who are sitting in this room here today. We take that obligation very, very seriously. To support and defend the Constitution comes with it the implicit obligation to respect the framework and the statutory framework and the regulatory framework that flows from the Constitution. That responsibility starts with the professional team of legal experts in the Department of War and the Department of Army. It's our responsibility to quickly assist leadership in identifying the legal risks in the courses of actions that best allow men and women of the service to accomplish their assigned missions in a manner that complies with the Constitution, with both domestic and international legal frameworks, but most importantly, the expectations of the American people for the use of American troops and equipment, both domestically and internationally. I would like to thank my beautiful wife, Laurie, of 35 years, and our children for your devotion and support. From the first duty assignment until today, you've been right beside me every step of the way. You've endured every challenge, every hardship. Your patience, your selflessness over the course of the last year in particular has been crucial, and I greatly appreciate it. And I would like to tell you that, with these two new roles, I'll have more time for you and the kids. But we've been married too long for me to pull that off with any credibility. I just don't see that coming. To my family and my lifelong friends that are here today, I love you all, and I appreciate your support and your presence here today. But you're specifically prohibited from telling any stories at the reception. And given our advanced age, I would just say that the statute of limitations has probably passed on your most interesting stories anyhow, so it really won't matter. There are so many of you here, though, from West Virginia, North Carolina, Alabama, and Texas, that I feel obliged to remind you that there is squirrel hunting is not allowed on the Pentagon reservation. But seriously, I'd like to thank you for being with us here today. And I would just say this, to my dear work colleagues, to my family who's here at work, sometimes you spend more time at work than you get to spend at home. That's the truth, right? And some of you I've worked with for years. Many of you I've worked with for decades. Our children have grown up together. They've graduated. They've gotten married. They have kids during the course of our professional working relationship. And we've been in the trenches together, worked the long weekends together, the late nights together, under great stress on issues of significant national importance. No matter the roles we each play, we have become a work family, and I mean that in the most sincere sense. Together, we've helped the leadership in this room boldly take both departments where they've never been before. We've achieved what many have said is impossible. Just this time last year, we were the Department of Defense in a historically defensive posture. We were stuck in a trench, waiting for the enemy, the other side, to bring it to us. We kept applying traditional solutions to traditional problems. Well, if you haven't noticed, things have changed. From the southwest border to the Houthis, to Iran, to the war on drugs, to the changes in procurement and the defense industrial base, we are rethinking those traditional frameworks within what is allowed by the law and bringing innovative, non-traditional solutions to bear on traditional problems. We are now a department of the Army within an aptly renamed Department of War. And we are up out of those trenches, and we are aggressively moving forward on many different fronts to take the fight to those who oppose America's interest. It's been an honor to be part of the team that's helped make this happen. I want to express my gratitude to some of the very distinguished legal colleagues and senior leaders who are here today that's helped make that happen. Mr. Dave Warrington, Counsel to the President. Sir, thank you very much for your support. To Dan Giorgiani, my Vanderbilt classmate, and you can't tell any stories, Dan, and my late night phone pal over the course of this last year, Mr. Gary Lakowski, both from White House Counsel. To Elliot Gazer and Lenore Pettit from the Department of Justice, Office of Legal Counsel, the Supreme Counsel to the federal government and the source of many Supreme Court justices. To Brigadier General Eric Widmer, legal advisor to the chairman. To the men and women of the Office of the Department of War General Counsel, especially the Honorable Earl Matthews, the department's general counsel, who has been so supportive and tremendous to work with. I certainly wouldn't be here without you, Earl, and I appreciate it. Thank you. I also want to recognize the Department of War team, the Joint Staff, and the services. It's a privilege to work with each one of you. The reality is these amazing things that we have done are not done by one person. They're done through a collective and a collaborative effort of a team of teams, excellent teams, that work together quickly and efficiently and effectively to get the mission accomplished. I would also like to express my gratitude to a few former distinguished legal colleagues who helped mentor me over the last few years. The Honorable Jim Haynes, the former DOD General Counsel. I think he was one of the longest serving DOD General Counsels. He was also the former Army General Counsel. The former DOD General Counsel, Honorable Paul Nye. The former Army General Counsel, Honorable Kerry Ritchie. The former Air Force General Counsel, Honorable Peter Bashar. To Brigadier General Chris Refrano, who helped me transition from active duty Army to active duty Air Guard, which is strange, right? Who would think that you're going to do that? But he sure did over 21 years ago. I would also like to thank Major General John Altenberg, who's sitting here today. He helped open the legal doors to me back in 1994 when I was a pilot at Fort Bragg, and he was the SJA of the 18th Airborne Corps. And he asked me then whether or not I would make it a career if the Army paid for law school. Sir, I hope you have your answer. And I hope you feel like you got your money's worth. And to the senior leaders I have advised and worked with over the many years, 6 chiefs of the National Guard Bureau, to include General Lingell, General Dan Hokanson, who couldn't be here today, but he was my company commander. Tim, I see you out there. Good to see you. He was my company commander, my first unit. And then he ends up being the chief of the Guard Bureau, and I have the privilege to be his general counsel. And to you, sir, General Nordhaus, thank you for being here today. Also, of course, General Kane, the chairman, another National Guardsman. We're so proud of you, sir, so thank you very much. I remember our meetings and our discussions and greatly appreciate the mentorship you each have given me. Right? Over the years, your collegial approach will be long remembered and will continue to set the example of excellence for generations of attorneys to come. To those of you who have quietly and patiently helped me stay sane and on target every day, Sergeant Major Card, Rosemary Coleman, Sergeant David Mayers, Major Kevin Harris, Major Rhett Ross, Annette Douglas, amen. Lieutenant Colonel Dennis Harmon, Colonel Aaron Likling, Colonel Jay Gow, Julie Scrivener, and my current deputy, Dan Zevitz. I've worked with him 19 years. There's a special place in heaven for each of you. To my colleagues in the Army and the Army legal community, the Army team has an excellent reputation, and I'm elated to be part of the awesome Army team. I recognize that I'm the last to join. Thank you for your patience and your very warm welcome. I'm looking forward to working with each of you. The first Charles Young served in the artillery in World War I. The second Charles Young served in the infantry in World War II. I served in Iraq in the Army. My son now serves. The point is, our future is the Army future. We are committed to the Army's future. Our skin is in the game. I'm very proud to be part of the Army legal professional team. I pledge to bring a spirit of collegial collaboration with Major General Bobby Christine, the Judge Advocate General of the Army, and full recognition of and appreciation of his statutory role. We need to quickly evaluate our legal missions and functions to make sure we each have the right priorities, reduce redundancies, and assure the most efficient use of our precious legal resources. We, like the Army, must transform in contact. The DepSec War and the Sec Army emphasize the need to always move faster. The mission is too consequential. The stakes are too high. The need for immediate pressing action is too important for distractions or delays. We have a limited amount of time to get things done. We're working from a backwards clock. I ask that the men and women of the Army team bring that same sense of urgency to the provision of legal services. If at any time, as you're moving up and out of the trench, you need to know which direction to go, just look up. The leadership of the Department of War and the Department of Army are boldly leading from the front. Follow them resolutely with the confidence that what you are doing really does matter. As we continue forward into 2026, just remember that you're on the greatest team in the world. Somewhere out there beyond that trench, we have a rendezvous with destiny. Whatever obstacles we may face, there is no mission too difficult. There is no sacrifice too great. Duty first.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and join in the singing of the Army song led by Staff Sergeant Amani Grosvenor. Lyrics can be found on the back of your program.
March along, sing our song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. Then it's hi, hi, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. For where we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the departure of the official party. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. There will be a reception at the National Guard Association on Massachusetts Avenue later this evening from 4 to 6 p.m. Light hors d'oeuvres and drinks will be served. You are welcome to congratulate Mr. Young and his family in the receiving line as you exit the back of the auditorium. Thank you all for attending.